Hello, good afternoon, Barakar Salah, and a warm welcome to NTA Nationwide with me, Joseph Johnson in Abuja. Glad you could join us. The Muslim faithful across Nigeria this Tuesday joined their counterparts all over the world in commemorating Eid al-Kabir, otherwise known as the Feast of Sacrifice. President Muhammadu Buhari performed the celebration with his kith and kin in the ancient town of Daura, Katsina State. State House correspondent Adam Musama reports on the ecstasy that greeted the observance of the annual ritual in the president's country home.
It was an exciting moment that rekindles optimism, high sense of satisfaction, and indeed fulfillment as President Muhammadu Buhari joins his family, friends, and acquaintances at Kofana Arewa Eid ground for the 2 Rak'at congregational Eid prayer. Amongst them, the paramount ruler of the ancient kingdom of Daura, Umar Faruk Umar. The chief imam of Daura, Safiyanu Yusuf Ansangwai, presided over the intense emotional prayer of thanksgiving to Allah for his enormous blessings to mankind. In a khutbah shortly after, the imam admonished the congregation to not only remain prayerful, but internalize the virtues of personal sacrifice, total obedience to Allah, and justice in all their dealings. He also made a case for the Ummah to not only love and tolerate one another, but continuously assist those in need for peace, national unity, stability, and development. The Emir of Daura, Umar Faruk Umar, thanked Allah that the nation's majority, as well as the international community, appreciate the efforts of their worthy son, President Muhammadu Buhari, at dismantling obstacles to national development towards guaranteeing a sustainable future for all, while reassuring the president of continued support, cooperation, and understanding of his people. The monarch prayed Allah to continue to guard him aright. As a mark of respect, President Muhammadu Buhari was given the honor to perform the symbolic ram slaughtering, demonstrating total obedience to the will of Allah, as exemplified by Prophet Ibrahim. Leaving the venue, however, became a Herculean task for the security agencies, and the president had to walk the distance of about 800 meters, acknowledging cheers from the mammoth crowd of well-wishers. How does it feel to be so honored? President Muhammadu Buhari reacts.
To be frank, I'm very happy about it, but I do not expect anything less from my base, from my immediate base.
I was just right next to him, and some of his aides were telling him, please, sir, let's get into it. And he said, look, if I don't mind getting to the house like this. He's very much in control of his military faculties, and because of his background as a military officer, he can do even more than an ordinary person. So it's a message.
It's curious that, these days, 1 or 2 people who are aspiring to be president are campaigning on their youth and good health. I think that the president has done one thing today, that the issue is not how old one is he, how fit is he, how healthy is he. I think that the president's fitness and well-being to continue in office is a settled matter.
The president used the opportunity to restate his resolute commitment to selflessness in service to the nation, but called on Nigerians to fully embrace the change agenda for the nation's economic well-being and prosperity.
I hope the rainy season will be as good as the two previous ones, so that there will be plenty of food, so that we may even completely stop importation of most of the food items.
Celebrating the Feast of Sacrifice with his kith and kin is a practice maintained by President Muhammadu Buhari for a very long time. From Daura in Katsina State, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And Muslims have been taken to task on the need to reflect on the lessons of Eid al-Kabir celebration, which is sacrifice, love, patience and obedience to Allah's commandment. Murshid of the Abuja National Mosque, Professor Shehu Said Galadanchi, re-emphasized this.
Of the Abuja National Mosque, Professor Shehu Said Galadanchi led other worshippers to observe the two congregational rakat prayer. He reminded Muslims to always reflect on the essence of the celebration, stressing that the 2019 election should not be a do-or-die affair.
That year, which is coming, is the year of election. I urged all the political leaders to try to educate and enlighten
Great day. It's a very important day, and he also admonished all of us to continue to fear God Almighty.
Immediately after the prayer, the Murshid performed the symbolic slaughtering of ram in fulfillment of Allah's commandment. Some of the worshippers spoke on the significance of Eid al-Kabir celebration.
It's strengthening my faith, and it teaches us about patience.
It's a day we are supposed to show love to one another.
Since the establishment of this National Eid Praying Ground, it has continually served as a point where Muslims converge to pray for themselves and pray for the nation as well. From the National Eid Praying Ground, Shuaibu Onozeyaku, NTA News.
Sacrificial obedience to all the teachings of Islam. In the spirit, of course, of celebrating Salah, Governor Ben Ayade of Cross River State urges Nigerians to keep aside all forms of religious, ethnic and tribal sentiments in the interest of unity, progress, peace and prosperity of the nation. President Muhammadu Buhari has urged Nigerians to rise above personal, group, sectarian and other interests and promote harmony and tolerance, dealing with one another at all times. In his Salah message, President Buhari urged all Muslims to use the occasion for sober reflection and self-examination and strive to be good at Sorry about that. He reminded Muslims that the occasion of Eid al-Adha is a remembrance of the submission of Prophet Ibrahim to his creator, by which he taught the world the value of sacrifice in relating with one another and in nation building. While stating that religion is a major factor in influencing human behavior towards good conduct and actions, the president regretted that selfishness, greed and corruption have overwhelmed human souls to the extent that people abandon their religious beliefs in pursuit of their greed. He stressed that fighting corruption is a task that must be done in order to protect the larger interest of the ordinary Nigerians, who are the worst victims of diseases, poverty, malnutrition and other afflictions. On the current economic challenges, the president assured Nigerians that such are temporary, because the welfare of the people is the main thrust of the change agenda of the administration. The Eid al-Kabir prayers were observed peacefully and colorfully in the ancient city of Kano. Abdullahi Mustafa covered the prayers at the central Eid ground and sent in the report.
Prayers were observed at more than 20 locations across Kano metropolis. At the Koframata Central Eid Ground, thousands of worshippers, including government officials, politicians and diplomats, turned up to observe the 2 rakat prayers. The prayers were led by Emir Muhammadu Sanusi II. His khutbah centered on the significance of sacrifice, love and care for the weak and needy. He also admonished Muslims to uphold the banner of peace and respect for one another so as to achieve prosperity and cohesion in the country. The emir later rode on horseback through some parts of the ancient city before arriving at Gidan Shetima near the main palace for the Eid Durbar. While there, he exchanged Salah greetings with Governor Abdullah Umar Ganduje, who was among spectators. One after another, district heads and other title holders paid homage to the emir. In Kanu, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Nationwide. At first, a port of call is Lagos, and Nganu is waiting with stories on Salah celebration. Nganu.
Thank you, Joseph. Welcome to Lagos and Barka de Salah. Strict adherence to Allah's instructions as regards tolerance, peaceful coexistence and acts of sacrifice have been re-emphasized to all Muslim faithful. Chief Imam of Lagos, Suleiman Abu, while admonishing the faithful to dwell on the lessons of obedience and sacrifice as exemplified by Ibrahim, implored them to show love to all. Abolade Salami reports.
Muslim faithful converged on the Dodan Barracks Eid prayer ground to observe the 2 mandatory Rakat prayer. Chief Imam of Lagos, Suleiman Abu, in his sermon charged Muslim faithful to persevere in their quest of obedience to Allah's instructions. He admonished them not to use the day for merrymaking alone, but to extend
benevolence, the act of giving to the less privileged should continue. That is what Allah is expecting from us. That is why He's saying the taqwa.
The need for all to be patriotic and shun all forms of social vices and the forthcoming general elections was emphasized by some worshippers.
Most importantly, considering the situation we find ourselves while approaching the next election, that we should be able to sacrifice. We should be able to sacrifice our ambition in the interest of the nation.
Peace. Election is not do or die. It's just an affirmation that you want to serve the country.
The Imam thereafter performed the symbolic slaughtering of the ram in obedience to Allah's instruction. In Lagos, Abolade Salami, NTA News.
Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode has called on Muslims to embrace the values of sacrifice, love towards fostering unity as they celebrate this year's Eid al-Kabir festival. This was in a Salah message to Lagosians. Meanwhile, the Lagos State Deputy Governor Idiat Adebule has equally called on Nigerians to eschew violence and embrace dialogue in all their endeavors before, during, and after the 2019 general elections. The Deputy Governor made the call after the Eid al-Kabir prayer in Lagos. Thomas Ogbetere has the rest of the story.
The Lagos State Deputy Governor, Dr. Idiat Adebule, observed an Eid al-Kabir prayer at Dodan Barracks in Lagos State alongside the APC national leader, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, and other Muslim faithfuls. Dr. Idiat Adebule called on Nigerians to ensure peaceful coexistence with one another, irrespective of religion, tribe, class, or creed.
We thank Almighty for His mercies. We thank God for His grace. And as we celebrate, I enjoin Muslims and even non-Muslims to continue to live in peace.
If all of us keep to the faith of our religion, whatever the religion is, it means we give up to submission to God. And if we submit to God, then we will do what is right. We will not unduly hurt people.
Muslims were also advised to always emulate the exemplary lifestyle of the holy prophets as stipulated in the Holy Quran. In Lagos, Thomas Ogbetere, NTA News.
We apologize for the poor audio in parts of that report. In commemoration of the wellness and devotion of Ibrahim to sacrifice his son Ismail as an act of obedience to Allah, Muslims the world over celebrate Eid al-Kabir, also known as the Feast of Festival. Nenrot Nina Musa has a report on the significance of Eid al-Kabir.
The Eid al-Kabir, or the Festival of Sacrifice, Muslim faithful say has a special significance attached to it, as it marks the climax of Hajj, or pilgrimage, which is the fifth pillar of Islam. The feast is chiefly characterized by the slaughtering of rams to honor Ibrahim's obedience to sacrifice his beloved son, Ismail, to Allah, which Allah himself replaced by a ram to sacrifice instead. It is in commemoration of this that an animal is sacrificed and divided into 3 parts, with 1/3 of the share given to relatives, friends, and neighbors. Another third is given to the poor and needy, while the remaining third is retained by the family. Toyin Tijani is one among many recipients of the benevolent acts of the rich towards the less privileged, as a sign of adhering to Allah's command on brotherly love and compassion.
I received the love way, and this is what God asked him to do, and he's doing it right.
The Islamic stance towards the slaughter of ram ritual is not for the atonement of blood, but rather an act of appreciation for one's possession and Allah's faithfulness towards his worshippers.
We should be our brother's keeper. Let us love each other, and let us put it in mind, Nigeria is one.
It's showing that even though you don't have the capability or the something to slaughter a ram, maybe your neighbor or your brother can even slaughter it, and you can even share it, not only for you, purposely for your own sake, but for others' benefits.
In acknowledgement of the importance of this right, Islam recommends that only healthy, matured animals are slaughtered, which could either be a ram, cow, or camel, but preferably a ram. In Lagos, Nerot Nina Musa, NTA News.
We are now joining Susan in Makurdi for more on Nationwide.
Thank you very much. Eid Mubarak and welcome to Makurdi. Muslims in Benin State have been advised to promote harmony and tolerance in dealing with one another. This was the message of the Deputy Chief Imam of the Makurdi Central Mosque, Malam Abuja, to mark the Eid al-Kabir celebration in Makurdi. Teina Umar was at the Arabic Primary School, Makurdi, venue of the Eid prayers, and now reports.
Eid al-Kabir is the festival of sacrifice, which marks the climax of Hajj. Malam Abubakar Abdullahi urged Muslims moral values and imbibe the spirit of sacrifice and love. The cleric further advised Muslims to live in peace with their neighbors. Other Muslim faithful say the festival is a period for sober reflection.
We pray that God one day will lift us from wherever we are today, and pray that give the support to the government of the day.
I think the greatest thing we will do is to have the fear of God in our minds, to imbibe the fear of God, love God, fear Him, do justice, and be honest in all your dealings.
It is, however, expected that Muslims all over the country will use this period to pray for economic and development of the nation. In Makurdi, Teina Umar, NTA News.
The Benin State government has commended the Presidential Committee on Victim Support Fund for intervening in the reconstruction of 28 projects in 3 local government areas ravaged by militia attacks in the state. Deputy Governor Benson Abonu stated this at the flag-off ceremony for the reconstruction of public facilities destroyed in the attacks. Correspondent Bem Hanya reports.
At the beginning of the year, when various communities in Benue State came under attack from armed militia, public facilities like schools, hospitals and boreholes were set ablaze or destroyed, while thousands of people were displaced. After an assessment of the areas majorly affected by the attacks by the armed militia, the Victim Support Fund approved 28 projects in Guma, Logo and Agatu local government areas of the state.
The federal government is our big father. So I want to plead with the Danjuma Committee to help us go a little bit further, at least to provide the physical equipment.
Vice Chairman and Executive Director of Fund, Tijani Tumsa and Professor Sunday Ochoche, respectively, said 23 classroom blocks and 5 comprehensive health centers will be reconstructed in the 3 local government areas.
We will continue to partner with the government of Benue State and the people therein in various local governments to ensure that this carnage stops and our people continue to live in peace.
The contractors will take charge of the site today, and we are expecting that in another 3 months, this
is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
The significance of Salah celebration and national sacrifice in nation building is the focus this week on NTA Tuesday Live. It promises to be incisive and educative. Don't miss it.
Fake news which is shared for malicious purposes is a danger to our peace and security in Nigeria. Misinformation as fake news is a serious threat to our hard-earned democracy and promotes hatred and misunderstanding between our communities. We are all responsible for stopping the spread of fake news in its tracks. So, always check the source and credibility of any news item. Say no to fake news. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You're still watching NTA Nationwide, and we are back in Abuja. The Emir of Zazzau, Alhaji Shehu Idris, joined thousands of worshippers to observe Eid prayer at the Zazzau Emirate Eid ground in Zaria. Marasir Aliu reports that the obligatory offering of ram during Eid Kabir was performed at the Eid ground.
Zazzau Alhaji Shehu Idris, together with thousands of worshippers, observed mandatory Eid prayer at Zazzau Emirate Eid ground. The 2 rak'at led by Chief Imam of Zazzau, Sheikh Dalhatu Qasim, was followed by a sermon and sacrifice, which is obligatory during Eid al-Kabir. The Imam urged Muslims to always direct their actions to the cause of Allah. The Emir and his contingent of traditional title holders rode back to his palace, receiving Salah greetings from his people. In his Salah message, the Emir enjoined people to always respect constituted authority and to be law-abiding, as this will foster unity and progress of the country. In Zaria, Mudassir Aliyu, NTA News.
Exemplify the lessons of sacrifice and peaceful coexistence beyond the Salah is the key message to the faithful across prayer grounds by the leadership in Nasarawa State, as hundreds converged to seek the blessings and forgiveness of Allah. Joshua Jito reports.
The faithful trooped to Eid grounds for the prayers. Allah is great is the call to worship, as the Deputy Chief Imam of Lafia, Yusuf Ahmed, led worshippers in the prayer session commemorating Eid al-Kabir. As exemplified by Prophet Ibrahim, the cleric says Muslims should see the day beyond celebration and reflect on the lessons of sacrifice, obedience and faith in Allah. While felicitating with Muslims, Governor Umaru Tenko Al-Makura says citizens should complement government effort of ensuring peace and be law-abiding.
At a time like this, when we are getting towards elections, we should avoid rumor-mongering, hate speeches, and fake news.
The celebration across the state is generally peaceful. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And Muslims have been enjoined to allow the fear of Allah guide them in all endeavors to obtain Allah's favor. The chief imam of Ibalan, Al-Haji Lindi Orunsholu, gave the advice as he led thousands of Muslims to pray at the Kangaroo Eid ground at Abeokuta. Lekong Agbonde reports that the governor of Ogun State, Ibikunle Amosun, led top government officials to pray at the Eid ground.
Signaling the celebration as faithful in Abeokuta joined other Muslims across the globe to observe the prayer. The state governor, Ibikunle Amosun, while congratulating the people, urged Muslims and non-Muslims to continue to promote peaceful coexistence among Nigerians.
We should imbibe that culture, that total submission to Almighty Allah. And we should know that once you serve Allah, it will serve you.
Thank the people of the state for their support. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
We now join Kemi in Ibadan for more reports on Eid prayers and other stories trending there. Hello, Kemi.
Barka Sala and welcome to Ibadan. Muslim faithful in the southwest today joined their counterparts across the globe to celebrate the Eid-el-Kabir festival. Ayomiku Ajibola has Eid prayers from parts of the southwest.
Muslim faithful as early as 7:30 a.m. in the morning thronged the Eid praying ground for the Eid-el-Kabir prayer. Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi arrived at 8:50 a.m. to join other faithful in observing the mandatory 2-rakat prayer. Discipline is paramount to the peaceful coexistence of any nation. He used the occasion to call for sustained prayers for socio-economic development of the state and the nation at large. Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi, on his part, urged the people of the state to live peacefully with one another and ensure the country remained united.
What we are celebrating today is godliness, service to humanity.
At the end of the prayer, the chief imam and the governor slaughtered their ram to mark the annual sacrifice. From Osogbo, Olabode Harewa reports that Muslim faithful also trooped out in their numbers to perform the 2-rakat prayer to mark Eid-el-Kabir. Governor Rauf Aregbesola told Islamic faithful to use Eid-el-Kabir period to pray for peace and unity of the country. Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
The issues surrounding the demolition of the popular musician Yinka Ayefele's music house continues to generate more attention as the two parties involved are laying different claims to the demolition of the 800 million naira building and radio station. Busola Woru, who has been following the trends of events, says a press conference and court proceeding is revealing another dimension on the demolition. Over to Busola.
Yomi Aliyu appearing for Governor Abiola Ajimobi and State Attorney General Bola Abimbola in a case instituted by Yinka Ayefele against the defendants regarding his building on Ring Road. His clients were not served with court processes.
There's no ministry called Ministry of Physical Planning, and there's no Ministry of Environmental. They have been repealed, so they suit non-existent person. So if they are claiming that they are
September 12 for hearing of applications and urged parties to file necessary processes before the adjourned date. In a response to the issue, the state government at a press briefing explained why the building was demolished.
You say you have done a token demolition. It is supposed to whip in line the contravenor. If the contravenor is not ready to comply,
you let him know that the law is there.
Reacting to this, Yinka Ayefele briefed the press.
After all the approved plan have been carried out, but I sweat, I suffered, I'm in 24 hours pain since I had this accident to make sure that I don't beg. But unfortunately, this is what I get.
The case continues within legal confines in Ibadan. Busola Owuru, NTA News.
All is now set to revamp the ashof industry in Iseyin, Oyo State for the international market. Governor Abiola Ajimobi said this will not only promote the trade and tourism potentials of the state, but also boost IGR and the cultural heritage of the people. Jane Unumo reports.
In September 2017, the Oyo State government conceptualized the Ashof International Tourism Market in Iseyin to promote the tourism potential of the state. Since then, however, the market has witnessed a lull due to lack of funds, hence the need for its resuscitation. Oyo State Governor Abiola Ajimobi in a message says efforts are on ground to woo investors to partner with the state government in the industry to boost the socio-economic development of the state.
And this is the first step to draw attraction to this place. Before the end of the month, the construction will start.
We are manufacturing this thing here. Once we start selling it here, look at the transportation. Look at the risk involved.
We see it being equivalent to some of the finest fabrics in the world, such as silk, cashmere. So ashoke will be the prestigious fabric.
Even a lot of us are graduates, we didn't get employment. This is what we are using to feed our family.
Ashof International Tourism Market in Iseyin will be open for patronage on a rotational 17-day basis.
From Iseyin, in Iseyin local government area of Oyo State, Jane Onomu, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. Joseph, it's back to you.
Came here from our Ibadan Network Center there. And now from Ibadan, let's join Agatha in our Benin studio. She is ready with stories on the festivities and much more. Agatha.
Thank you, Joseph, for joining us in Benin. Eid Mubarak. Nigerians have been advised to support government at all levels so that development can be sustained in the country. This was the message of the Chief Imam of Benin, Alhaji Jamiu Edusoma, at the Eid prayer ground in Benin City. Ogochukuka Ona reports.
Alhaji Jamiu, who presided over the Eid prayer, attended by former governor of Kano State and presidential hopeful Senator Rabiu Kwankwa, the rising cases of illegal migration, ritual killings and vote buying in the country, and stressed the need for the three tiers of government to work together in the interest of the country.
We should not endeavor to keep peace. We should support the government of the day.
Some of the faithful are confident that their prayers will yield good fruits.
More importantly, touch life, put a smile to somebody's face. That is the majority today. So whatever you have, share it to the less privileged one.
Anything we are doing this world, we should learn to make sacrifice.
Eid al-Kabir is the second of the two Islamic holidays celebrated worldwide every year. In Benin, Ogochukuka Ona, NTA News.
The Eid al-Kabir prayers also held today in various parts of Edo North. David Irie, who covered the prayers in some Eid grounds in Esako West and Owan East local government areas, reports.
The faithful gathered at the Jetu Eid ground to thank Allah for his protection and grace upon them throughout the Islamic year. The Deputy Chief Imam of Uzaire, Sheikh Abdullahi Muhammad Shuaib, led the 2 rakat prayers.
Pray for this country, for guidance, for protection, for peace and stability.
The arrival of the Otaru of Auchi kick-started the feast of sacrifice at the Arafat Eid ground in Auchi. The Chief Imam of Auchi, Professor Zakaria Hosseini, wants faithful to look beyond the merriment and imbibe the spirit of piety, patience and humility, which are the key elements of the feast.
We should learn to spend from what we have.
that sacrifice.
We must behave the way that He has ordained, both in the Bible and the Quran.
And so we need to make this sacrifice as a nation led by righteous people so that the country can move forward.
In South Ibie, it was the needed opportunity for the Muslims to reaffirm their hope and confidence in Almighty Allah as they offered prayers to show their submission to His grace.
Whether they are people of other faith, we should learn to live together.
In Warake, Al-Haji Kasimu Oyarese described the sacrifice of the ram as a reminder that every faithful must be submissive to Almighty Allah, irrespective of status and position. There was the symbolic slaughtering of the ram at the prayer grounds. In Edo North, David Ire, NTA News.
Away from Eid al-Kabir prayers, Edo State government will on September 1st commence work on projects identified by ward development committees in Uhumode Council area. Governor Gordon Obaseki gave this information during a town hall meeting in Eho. Elizabeth Wutoma has details.
In order to address the problem of illegal migration and human trafficking, Governor Gordon Obaseki met with the people of Eho and ward committees. This is intended to procure first-hand information on the infrastructural needs.
Electricity is a dicey one. What I'm trying to do with the Federal Rural Electricity Board, they have shown us some solar systems that can be used for homes and for the community.
All the plans you have for Ubuntu, we the citizens are ready to cooperate with you.
While appealing to local government administrators to work as one body, the governor disclosed that an advisory committee will be established to monitor the use and deployment of funds in the local government council. In Benin, Elizabeth Owotoma, NTA News.
And that ends our package. Joseph in Abuja has more on Nationwide. From all of us here, Barka de Sala.
Very well, Agatha, thank you very much indeed. Let's pause here for some messages. We'll be right back with more stories. Don't go away.
For years, the NTA has been promoting science, technology, arts and crafts under the tagged name National Children's Expo. We are set with another edition as we gather children around Nigeria. Junior category ages 6 to 12 and senior category ages 13 to 18. The theme for Expo 2018, achieving self-sufficiency in agriculture, meeting the challenges of security and exposition of alternative energy as pathways to national development. Date, October 21st to 25th, 2018. Venue, NTA Headquarters Arena, Area 11, Garki, Abuja. We are set to celebrate the best of innovation across the country. For more information, please call the following numbers. NTA ETV, promoting learning.
Yeah, Modena. Do you have amala? Yes. And amala? Yes, sir. Black or white? Yamala. Have I ever eaten white amala here before? Yes, sir. Give me amala and amala. Do you have dodo? Dodo ground. Good. Let me have some dodo. I want you to put the meat in a bowl. Shaki, suku, abodi. I like my edo to be very tender. You have stockfish? Yes, sir. Good. Let's have some stockfish. And catfish, my favorite. Don't mind them. You have eggs. I would like 6 boiled eggs. No eggs. Okay, catfish will do. And then rice. Rice and then some salad. Look. Do you have a guru?
Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria
on NTA nationwide. NTA.
We're not done with Salah celebration just yet, because report from Gombe says the Eid al-Kabir celebration was observed under a peaceful atmosphere, with messages from government and clerics centering on peaceful coexistence. Emmanuel Akila has the report.
That was how the chief imam of Gombe, Muhammad Umar Pindiga, led the congregation in 2 rakat Eid prayers. In a sermon shortly after the prayers, the cleric admonished the worshippers not to lose sight of the significance of the festival, which include sacrifice, love, care for one another, and peaceful coexistence. After slaughtering his sacrificial lamb, the cleric advised the wealthy to share their meat with the poor and indigent members of the society. In a Salah message, Governor Ibrahim Hassan Nkombo urged the people of Gombe State to go about the celebrations peacefully, drawing attention of the youths on the dangers of political thuggery, especially that the country is approaching an election year. As it has been the tradition, the governor led government delegation to the Emir's palace to witness the colorful Durbar organized by the Emir of Gombe, Alhaji Abubakar Shehu Abubakar III, where the Emir also advised the people on the need for peaceful coexistence preparatory to the 2019 general elections. The people appreciate the cleric and the government for the messages in the promotion of growth and development of Nigeria. In Gombe, I am Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Youth Corps members serving in Daura, Katsina State are passionately appealing to the younger generation across Nigeria to not only appreciate but genuinely support the revolutionary initiatives being implemented by President Muhammadu Buhari for their sake and sustainable future of the country. This was while paying a solidarity visit to the president at his Daura residence as part of Salah celebration. Details in a subsequent bulletin. The Nigeria Police Force has increased the number of both uniform and plainclothes officers throughout the Salah celebrations to ensure safe and hitch-free celebrations. Lydia Sampson spoke with Force Public Relations Officer and Acting DCP Jimo Moshood and other security agencies, who said threat assessments carried out has helped in identifying and manning black spots across the country on special security alert.
And commissioners of police in zonal and state command and personnel in the northeast and flashpoints are on red alert.
In addition, we have done the special deployment on the highways and the Federal Highway Patrol, the other patrol team that we call the Civil Highway, the Crime Prevention Patrol of each divisional command is going to be on ground. They are going to work with other sister security and safety agencies on the highway.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps has deployed 30,000 personnel, sniffer dogs and counter-terrorism squad to protect critical national infrastructure and collaborate with other security agencies.
When you see security men, don't be afraid of them. Get closer to them, help them, pass intelligence out to the security men. After all, it is you they are protecting.
DCG Modu Hilary Kelechi, the Deputy Commandant General Operations, urged the public to alert security agencies of suspicious activities around national assets for prompt action. For the Federal Fire Service spokesperson, fighting fire outbreak is taking a new dimension. She urged the public to be safety conscious during and after the Eid al-Kabir celebrations.
We have just unveiled our app, which is called the FAST app. So it makes turnouts to emergencies faster, and also turn out to emergency scenes. If you have medical issues, emergencies, you can also download the app.
While reiterating that security operatives have been directed to be civil, polite and compassionate, Acting DCP Jimo Moshood also stressed that they will be firm in carrying out their duties.
In addition to massive deployments to ensure a hitch-free Salah celebration, security agencies warn against rebroadcast and circulation of fake news that may create unnecessary panic and disrupt peace. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Religious clerics have drawn attention to the need for Nigerians to embrace their differences, learn to sacrifice more and walk in love. This was while taking a look at peaceful coexistence in the country on Good Morning Nigeria. Gufang Shaji reports.
explained the significance of the Eid al-Kabir celebration, adding that obedience to constituted authority remains another important lesson from the festivity.
So today, behind that celebration is actually the spirit of sacrifice, the spirit of relying on God in everything you do.
Chairman, Christian Association of Nigeria, North Central Zone, Reverend Israel Akanji, emphasized for the need for tolerance in a multi-religious nation like Nigeria.
We must ensure that we live sacrificially, not to have everything to ourselves, but to help the poor people, the marginalized people that are in suffering. There are many people in IDP camps, people are in hospitals, and yet sometimes you see one person wants to take everything.
As simple as driving. When you're driving and you have an advantage, and someone is in relative distress and needs to get out of a gridlock, are you ready to give up, like he said, for that person to pass?
So for us as Nigerians, it's very important that we're obedient. It's very important that we are very true to what we call our creed.
The guests also described the celebration as a time for sober reflections on what binds the nation rather than those that divide. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
Discouraging all forms of pre-trial detention as well as the provision of high-quality legal services to the indigent in the society has again been advocated. The advocacy came to the fore at a one-day leadership and capacity building conference in Abuja for pro bono lawyers and legal and service providers in Nigeria.
That more than 72% of inmates in the Nigerian prisons are awaiting trial, many of whom lack the required legal representation due to the instance of the network of pro bono lawyers in Nigeria, in collaboration with other key players, seeks to provide training to this set of legal practitioners who serve indigent individuals and communities across the country.
I'm very excited that people have shown an interest in this self-imposed and yet extremely important task to help societies less privileged.
And I know that this gathering, you will not leave here the same. Because I believe when young people collectively come together and take action, there is no force that can stop us from achieving what we want.
I want to encourage those of you who are doing that work or thinking about doing that work